Hi there, this is Helen Tarrant again from Untitled. Here with our whole team. Wow, it's massive. Welcome to another episode of Commercial Property Roadshow. You're here with Helen Tarrant, and today I'm going to talk about deposits, costs in buying your first commercial property. So look, loans for commercial property are very different from residential. You can have your low doc loan, which is 80% LVR, which is 20% deposit. Full doc loans where you're PAYG, submitting your pay slips, your bank statements, expenses, liabilities, all of that for between 70 to 75% LVR. So when I say LVR, loan to valuation ratio. Or if your car service not working and just or you have a lot of residential, or at the moment you just can't show an income, or even if you've been bankrupt before, or all of those things, there is what's available as lease stock loans, which is based on the lease itself to service the debt on the property, and that's 65% LVR. So that requires you to come up with 35% deposit. But the other thing you got to think about is costs, right? Unless you're buying in ACT or South Australia where there's no stamp duty and no land tax for commercial property, you are going to need to come up with at least 5% extra to cover off your stamp duty. In certain areas like in Victoria, the stamp duty is 5.4%, so you need to come up with a bit over 5%. But also the other cost to consider is your legal costs, your pest and building, what you need during due diligence, which normally for some people can be simple as pest and building, a strata search or strata report, or for others they might want to do engineering reports, soil tests, and all sorts of feasibility tests depending on the type of property you are buying. So typically when you're looking at a deposit for commercial property, we are looking anywhere from 20%. So if you're buying $1 million property, a 200 grand plus costs, so 250 on $1 million on a low doc loan of 80%, or up to anywhere from 400 to 400,000 if you're buying $1 million property, if you need to go through lease doc rather than servicing, right? So there is a variety, right? And what suits you may be different from someone else. And the reason that you would use a lease doc loan over a loan for a full documentation loan or a low doc loan really depends not only on your circumstances, but what you hope to achieve into the future. So for example, if you wanted to buy multiple properties and you also want to do some resi deals or residential deals, or you might be in the middle of doing some developments and you don't really want the servicing from your commercial to affect you doing other deals like residential, or maybe you have lots of residential, you're planning to do lots of residential, or you're committed to actually having some residential developments in the future, then the lease stock loan is the way to go, because with lease stock loans, they're not testing you for servicing. It's a much simpler loan, much easier, and you don't have to provide so much documentation. Yes, it's going to require more money in, but remember, one day as the value of the property goes up, you'll be able to pull that money out as well. So when you're looking at deposit, obviously everyone wants to start as low as deposit as possible, but of course your circumstances change and your circumstances is different. So you got to think about your circumstances, and based on your circumstances, you got to work out what exactly is the best way forward, and whether it's using a smaller deposit or a larger deposit is really the way to move forward, right? Now, not only that, some of the things to consider is obviously for every transaction there's legal costs, and we like to, in Unicorn Commercial, like to limit that by using particular solicitors and lawyers who actually know what we're looking for in the leases and contracts, and they automatically put that in. And we also then have other parties that we work with that we know are going to give a very good value cost. So for example, pest and building in certain country towns, certain areas, they can make you wait 2 or 3 weeks before, and a very high quote. But because we do it so much and so often, the local people are using, they know that the costs are much lower. It's like with solicitors, we get much better rates because we do it in more volume, we refer them a lot of clients. So that's also one of the reasons that by utilizing our solicitors, that gives you the benefit, and that reduces your cost as well. But some of the other costs to think about is your depreciation reports in the future, which you may need when you buy a property, and also you might want to talk to an accountant during the process to talk about tax minimization and also setting up your entity. So typically when someone are buying commercial property, they buy it in a discretionary trust with a corporate trust deed underneath, which means they can distribute the income and also later on the capital gains as well. But if you're doing a development, you might want to be using a company and have directors in the company with you, or a joint venture in that case. Now, when I talk about the different deposits, what I'm saying is that these are the deposit you need for kind of your set and forget properties. If you are looking to buy a property that is a development or have uplift potential, now there are different loans and different deposits. Now developments, they can look at the end value. Now developments, you are going to be required to put a lot more money in than you would your other loans. And if you're looking at uplift properties or properties that doesn't have set leases, you have to be able to service it. So you almost always a full documentation loan. Or if you have a lot of deals out there and you don't want to do a full documentation loan because you're not going to qualify, then the best way to do it is what they call a no-doc loan. Basically, you sign and go. It's very high interest rates. It's about 2% above the average interest rate. So if the average interest rate goes to 5, this interest rate is going to go to 7. Right, it's going to go to 7. And what that means is that you're going to pay 2% above. So on $1 million, you're paying $70,000 in interest for that property. Right? And for some people, that's not a break-even point. They might make a loss on it, but the whole idea of buying a vacant property, putting a tenant in, and then creating the value of the back end is to then flick it or sell it or refinance it, so you go into a more normalized loan, so that the extra 2%, which is really $20,000 when you look at it, because you would have paid 5% anyway, which is 50, is really the cost of doing business and that holding cost. So you can't really look at it as the whole 7%. You got to look at the 5% and the additional 2%. But with something like that, it's a 70% or LVR, so you're coming up with 30% deposit plus 5% cost. So on $1 million, $350,000 including costs. So these are some of the deposits you're going to need getting into commercial property. Now, how would you continue to roll on and get more deposits? Well, at some point, you're either going to buy in an area where it's a hotspot area where you know it's going to boom, and that means that you buy into the area before it booms, right? Not when it's booming or in the middle of a boom, before it booms. So when the area is still rough and dirty, it still have a lot of things that's going to gentrify, still a lot of industries coming out, a lot of white collars going in. There might be some developments. You're not going to find the perfect leases, the perfect tenants. You're going to buy somewhere where it's not perfect, but what you do is wait out the time and it will gentrify, and that's when you pick up that growth. Now, that might happen in as little as 2 years or 3 years, or it might be 5 or 7 years, depending on what your long-term goal is. Now, that's going to help you to refinance. So something as it gentrifies, you'll get higher, the returns will be better in the capital growth. So you might want to refinance at year 3, then look at year 6 and year 7 as well. So maybe 2 lots of refinance in the future to do 2 lots of deals. Alternatively, going forward to a property where you can create a manufactured equity, create the uplift, that's going to get you doing there faster, 12 to 18 months in a faster period as well. But either or, you're going to need some strategy. You're going to need someone who can build out a portfolio and strategy at some point in your investment journey, especially in the commercial space. Not only will you need set and forget properties, you are going to need an uplift. In order to do the uplift, you are going to require mentorship. You're going to require someone to be able to help you and do the FISOs and give you the numbers, someone to give you guidance on whether you're paying too much for it or too little for it, someone who's going to give you some guidelines, drawings of what can be done on a property and what can't be done, and that comes from pure experience. And that's also part of the reasons you join the Unicorn community, where we are going to be able to help you with not only understanding, creating cash flow foundations in terms of building out your cash flow position so that you're ready to do an uplift, but also to educate you, because when you do an uplift, you need to understand you need to understand the capital growth, the metrics in an area. You have someone who can tell you what to buy, but most importantly, what not to touch, because old buildings and old premises can have all sorts of things that could end up doubling the cost of your uplift as well. So not only have you to think about deposits when you call uplift, but also the additional cost of the uplift as well. So when you look at a commercial property overall, think of two things. Firstly, how much deposit do I have to get started? Secondly, do I have the capacity, either in time or money, to be able to devote to the project, to be able to uplift it? If the answer is no, then buy, set and forget. So those are your 70% to 80% LVR loans, so loan to valuation. So you need a 20 to 30% deposit, or lease stock at 35%. So as long as you've got that, you can sit back and collect the cash. And if you buy in regional areas versus metro areas, you're going to get more cash. But if you do have the time and energy to devote to an uplift, then and the answer is yes, then you owe it to yourself to have some education, some mentorship, understand exactly what it is you're getting yourself into, and then do that in commercial, and then you can roll on and so on and so forth. So again, if this is something you're looking for, someone to help you in your journey, someone to actually mentor you, reach out to me, helentarrant.com, Unicorn Commercial Property. Reach out to us, send us a contact us form. Let's jump on a strategy session. But also the most important thing I want you to know is, I have to show you this. Guess what? My book is about to come out, right? So this is Cashed Up with Commercial Property, Helen Tarrant. Now the link below to pre-order is there. The book should arrive around bookstores around Australia 1st of September. So very, very exciting. This had a lot of work going into it. All the strategies are in there as well. So order the book and off you go to and hopefully reach out to us as well, and we can help you build that portfolio in commercial property. So until next time, let us know what topics you want, and we're going to be starting interviewing a few more people. We're going to change our the scope of our videos. From the 1st of September, we're going to go to one video a week. We haven't decided what date it is, but I'll let you know. We're going to 1 day a week, and we're going to do interviews of key people around the industry. We're going to share with you some stories from our clients, and we're going to bring to you what other points of views are about interviewing, about basically investing in commercial property. So until then, click the bell, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.